The following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with the University of Iowa.
Coming up in this episode.
This was an unprecedented event that had never been seen before.
1993 was frankly crushed by the 2008 flood.
We had to accelerate what we were doing.
No one was giving up.
It was time for ordinary people to get involved.
We'll be dealing with the consequences of this flood for years to come.
Next on Iowa Magazine. Spring 2008, the University of Iowa. After a long winter, the campus transitions to summer. With a new university president, the outlook is positive.
We were looking forward to the sustainability initiative becoming a big part of what we were going to be doing next year. I had a really tremendous year of learning about the university, learning about its people, and I'm glad I did that.
Iowans are accustomed to severe weather in spring, and as meteorologist Joe Winters explains, 2008 sees its share.
First of all, we recall the winter. We had very, very heavy snows. In fact, record snows in many locations, or near record snows, upwards of 60 inches. Because of that, that left the ground very saturated across much of Iowa and throughout the upper Midwest. Secondly, we had very, very heavy spring rains. We had rains of 6 to 12 inches across some portions of southern Minnesota, northern Iowa as we moved through spring in a very short period of time. All that started to feed into the river valleys.
It is actually the configuration of that river network, all the small creeks and bigger creeks and small rivers and bigger rivers that collectively determine how that surface runoff will propagate downstream. When all these events, come together in the right way, so to speak, then you have a flood, a big flood.
The first 6 months of 2008 will be the wettest in Iowa history. With a major river running right through campus, University of Iowa administrators pay close attention.
We knew that we had a saturated ground as the spring started, but as the rain kept coming, we started to get levels rising in the reservoir north of us.
That reservoir is formed by the Coralville Dam, upstream from Iowa City.
Yeah, the Coralville Dam plays a very important role for the Iowa City, Coralville, and University communities because it's a flood control reservoir that allows a great deal of the precipitation to accumulate in the reservoir.
So as the water comes down the Iowa River, it is expected to hold water and be released at certain rates to hopefully prevent flooding farther downstream.
As heavy spring rains push the river to flood stage, the UI takes measures to protect the campus.
We benefited enormously from a flood emergency response plan that we developed a few years ago. It was really building on the experiences of the '93 flood.
The record flood of 1993 reached 100-year levels and informed the university's response plan.
We learned a lot, as did the communities of Iowa City and Coralville from the 1993 flood.
As sandbag dikes are built, the low-lying arts campus is evacuated, along with most of the art museum's valuable collection.
We were hoping at the time would be the worst decision we made, that we put everyone through this inconvenience and it not be necessary. What it turned out to be was an effort that saved millions of dollars in assets.
On the East Bank as well, sandbagging activity accelerates as the river continues to rise.
We spent a lot of time trying to fortify the Union. Similarly, in the Advanced Technology Laboratory, what could we move out of harm's way in that lab? It was clear that we were going to see something unprecedented, and it was coming very quickly.
When forecasts exceed 1993 records, buildings that were out of harm's way, like the main library, are suddenly at risk.
We began to get concerned when music and art were evacuated back around June 9th. The basement of the main library, I should explain, is literally probably ceiling to floor full of collections.
As sandbag walls go up outside, volunteers inside the library move valuable materials to higher ground.
We wanted to try to get the materials that we were most concerned would not be replaceable.
No one was giving up. No one ever thought about stepping back and just saying, here comes the water, let's just get out of the way. That was never part of the thinking.
But as the output from the dam increases, the situation downstream becomes dire.
We had to accelerate what we were doing, and that's when we called in contractors and volunteers and National Guard. We stepped it up several degrees, and we were literally racing.
An army of volunteers is mobilized, but will it be enough to stop the river? Coming up, the situation goes from bad to worse.
We were talking about record levels 10, 12 feet above where it's ever been seen before along the river.
We were beyond the plan at that point, and we were reacting in the moment.
I said, frankly, Governor, we could use help.
Next on Iowa Magazine.